You want me to start?
Yes.
Rob Green. My third year in real estate. Actually, get to renew my license in November. Yeah, November is when I got it. I start using it until January. I'm going to go to the kid company since December.
Karen Ulrich, and with the K company early this year, got my license last year. Spent 14 years in corporate America, and previous to that, I had my license a long time ago. So I'm just getting back into the swing.
My name is Sabella. I'm not an agent yet. I'm currently still in school. So I'm just sitting in just to learn and take up as much information as I can.
My name is Karina, and I'm still in school too. And
Where do you go to school?
mine's online. It's Colorado Real Estate.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. I heard you last week. I was like, oh.
It's a great school. It was awful.
Especially at home. Did you take online?
No, I did. I actually did both. I went to class, but I also did the online. I was traveling too, so it was his hard. He does a great job. Don't get me wrong.
It's funny too.
And he passed the test, the real test. It's not an easy process.
No.
Well, good. I'm Lorena Arnold. I've been in real estate since 2008. So I just joined the K company in December, and we're just having fun.
I'm Louise. I just got my license in June. I've been in real estate though since 2000. I did lending and title work, and I went full bore.
And I'm John Marshall. This is my 18th year in real estate, and like Lorena, I'm having so much fun right now.
I am Mario Padilla. I'm just had my license back in May after 17 years working as a restaurant general manager for different franchises, such as that Fire of that big, the Golden Arches and all that. And I just decided to join it full time, and I am having fun as well.
My name is John Cordell. I've been licensed for 6 years as a realtor, and just coming on board newly with K company.
So there you go. Welcome, welcome. Perfect timing, 101. So we all set with that? Okay. So the topic this week is to learn your style in real estate, because learning your style will be very helpful in how you market, how you put your name out, how you meet people, how you connect, network, everything. There's all kinds of information. I mean, I like to specialize myself, and I like to teach others how to do that. I'm going to jump to a screen here if I can get a little coordination in what I'm doing here.
I'm still looking at you. The 7 styles. So you need to share the screen again.
Oh, I see. So how do I do that? Oh, I see. I got to do that every time. New share.
Yeah, share. And there you go. Yeah, that's all right.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to make sure I'm sharing the right thing. So Bruce Gardner is a real estate coach. I won't go into any more details than that, but he's got a lot of good stuff. He's been in real estate since I think the early 90s, maybe even the late 80s, but now he's more of a coach and a trainer, and he teaches nationally. But being a local guy, it's kind of nice because a lot of us have gotten to know him and use his stuff. One of his books is The 7 Styles. He's actually putting a trilogy together. He's got his second one out called Words, and he's got a third one coming out, I think, in September, that will ramp up his national coaching platform. But in the 7 styles, I mean, you can, if you go to strategybox.net, you can see all this stuff. And I'll go ahead and grab a chair, Mike. In the 7 styles, and I'm not going to click on that one there because I think I have it open in another one if I can do all this right.
Yeah, just go to that.
Jump to that one?
Yeah, yeah, you find it.
So if I just leave this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, I'll just read it. So do you want to hand these out? I don't know if Thanks. So in the 7 styles, I mean, this is updated a little bit from his older book that I think he used to call The Hyper-Localist, the Indian. So those of you that have the old book that he calls the Indian, it's now the Hyper-Localist. But There's a hunter, a farmer, networker, expert, lifestyle, hyper-localist, and a billboard, and they all mean different things. I mean, probably not what you think they are, but if you think in terms of a hunter, they go out, they hunt, they gather every single day for food. They are not afraid. Typically, these are the guys that pay the Zillow ads, they pay the Realtor.com fees. They're the guys that spend a lot of money to go out. They're the FSBO people, the expired people, the people that just want to call and do all that work. Keller Williams is a hunter model. So if you're a hunter and that's what you love to do, which is what they teach you over there, it's not my thing to do. And I think it's a lot more fun if you're not doing it that way. But there is a way to do it that way. And so that's, if you think in terms of that, they literally tell everyone every day that they're in real estate and that they're here to help them buy and sell properties and that type of thing, which, there's a reason for doing it that way. It's not a reason I like. So I want you to kind of look at this and kind of identify yourself, what you see as your personality, how you see yourself working in the industry. Most people have 2 or 3 of these different styles that kind of come to the forefront. And I'll tell you, Mark back there, he's a hunter and a billboard. And you'll see why in a minute. If you know him very well, you'll see why he's that guy. The farmer, that suits me a lot better. The farmer and the networker. Farmers are relational people, and I guess I'll just read this, but I think everyone can read along with me. They develop business from the relationships. They often are outgoing, sometimes very outgoing and friendly, and usually have a high likability factor. Creating and developing relationships is very natural to them. They usually come in the industry with a large network of friends and acquaintances, and those relationships easily transition into business relationships. People like to work with them. Usually working with them is a fun experience, and they may get a lot of referrals because of that. I didn't realize I was a farmer. Most people think of farming as, a geographical area that you're marketing to on and off. This is a totally different type of farmer in Bruce's terms, and it fits me pretty well. When I got into this business, I think I probably told a lot of you my story, but I think I had 2,800 names on my list of people that I knew in the Denver area, and I thought, okay, that's a good starting point. 2,800 names, and to me, it was even though I joined a brokerage where I was literally just getting phone calls coming in, it was the basis of my business and how I could get away from working with a brokerage that provided leads all the time. It was literally my sphere, and I still don't market to them the way I should, but it's a very powerful group of people. You don't need too many people as a farmer to be successful. You could literally have 50 to 75 and be very successful in this if you can train them how to work with you in this business. So we got a couple more of those.
Hunters and farmers different. Hunters are using this expression because I can't think of a better one, but they're more slam bam thank you ma'am.
Yeah.
And as soon as the deal is done, as soon as like the contract is signed, you may not even see them at closing because I just had one of those last in May. I never even met the guy.
Yeah.
At closing was an assistant or somebody, but the only time you heard from them when he went to like shake you down. There's farmers, they're gonna meet somebody and they're gonna build a relationship and get you for referrals down the road.
Yeah.
Right?
I think of a farmer as someone who plants a seed. He's going to cultivate that seed, fertilize that seed, grow a tree, grow a plant. They'll harvest produce. They'll continue to nourish that plant, that relationship. They'll continue to produce a crop out of that relationship. Versus a hunter kills the animal. And the
Eats
animal.
No, that's exactly it's exactly it.
The hunt is over.
Yeah,
They're looking for an easy shot.
Well, the hunters are in it for instant stuff. The farmers are in this for a career, for a lifetime of success. And I know hunters that they're so stressed, their family life sucks, they're divorced, whatever, because all day long they're trying to find food to kill, and they're out there, if they do kill it, they're eating it right then and looking for the next one. Where farmers are building their business, like Carol said, and you're
I don't
literally.
think we should always bash the hunter either. There are some very successful hunters out there who are very good at what they do.
Yeah, not bashing them. I just know the difference between the two of them, and I know a lot of hunters, and I know that stereotypically they will burn bridges to get the deal done, which is not how I would do business. I mean, I absolutely will not. But I've got people that I know that have dealt with hunter mentalities, and they call me up and say, "My God, I'm never going to do another deal with that guy. Never. There's no way I would do a deal with that guy." Made me cry. Made clients cry. And they're not all like that, but it's literally. I know them, and it's like, here's how they work. So the networker, very similar to the farmer. Networkers also rational people like farm rational. I like that. Or relational, sorry. I'm a little farther away than I should be to my screen here. Majority of their relationships are based within a group or organization. The organization is common ground on which a relationship is built or based. It's the bond that allows a relationship to grow into business relationships. The group may be a church, a religious organization, a nonprofit, charity. Could be a chamber of commerce, Rotary Club, on and on. I mean, so the farmer and the network are very similar. I would say I'm kind of a toss between these two because my network is my golfing group. I mean, I do a lot of that. And I meet a lot of people that are in the golfing industry because of that, and I get a lot of business through that. So that's part of my network, but I'm very much a farmer in the relational side of things. So, and you can, again, we're going to throw some stuff on that whiteboard up there, give you guys some ideas. And I think there's a few examples of some of these as we get down into it a little further. So the next category is the expert. Expert focuses on some specialization in the industry, maybe a type of real estate or a type of transaction. Could be a geographical. It is something specific that offers the opportunity to develop a reputation as the expert in that specific area. Experts seek to become the authority on that subject and broadcast that value proposition to the world. The expertise activates the power of attraction, and consumers who are contemplating a transaction in this area become drawn to the expert because of their knowledge and expertise. Experts may develop highly advanced skills when dealing with this type of consumer and specific processes and support systems that cater to them. Below here is some examples, and I can, again, I can tell you how my, again, the expert in the golf course communities, low maintenance golf course living, I get referrals from people around the country because they know, like he says in here, consumers are drawn to me, they're attracted to me because I market myself that way. I'll probably close 3 to 4 million this year just in business that comes from people that are attracted to my golf course communities. And that's going to be about half my business for the year. So to me, it's an absolute no-brainer way to do business. I mean, if you're not doing something that shows you the expert, then you should be doing something. I mean, I know what Lorena does. I know what Carl does. I know what Rob does. And, the rest of you guys will learn as you go. But these guys are experts in what they do, even though some of them are pretty new at it. But it's pretty evident that where their business comes from being the expert in that type of a product or whatever it is. And I know that, Rob's is still evolving, but every time I see his transactions come through, they're almost identical as far as the type of clientele, the type of home that's being sold, the price range. It's like, okay, this is what Rob's all about. So I get it. And I know what Lorena's about because of the same thing. So as you evolve, you'll find out what you really want to do in this. I got into the golf industry, the golf side of it, because actually I started earlier than that. I wanted to establish myself as the expert. So I started writing for a golf magazine. What that did is it got me introduced to some great courses. I got to play a lot of nice courses by reaching out to the membership directors and the pros. But I also met a lot of realtors that are in outskirts of Steamboat and Durango and areas that I'm never going to transact in, that I would get referrals and refer deals back and forth to, because I'm not going to drive to Durango as much as I'd like to sell a $2 million house. But if somebody sees an article and they say, hey, do you sell homes in Durango? Know what my buddy Joe does. So I'll refer you to Joe and I'll just get 25% and sit here and say, thank you very much. So when you establish yourself as the expert, you literally write the rules. You're playing the game on your rules. You're designing the game board and playing it that way. And I think that is one of the best ways to do business. I mean, I think that is one of the best ways. So you can see in here, short sales, again, these are, I think somebody asked me what a short sale was the other day. So they were a newer agent. I mean, in 2008, 9, 10, there was 5,000 short sales a month happening, and they take 90 to 180 days, and people are freaking out because they're losing their homes. They are not. But if you're the expert, people are going to reach out to you and find you for that. And they will come back. I mean, we'll see that again, hopefully not another 8 or 9 years. But bank-owned properties, that's another good one. They take a lot of work. You really got to have connections and relationships with banks to get that stuff. You can just see I get my golf game tips popping right on my screen. Architectural, individual, and specific properties. So a few years ago, I was talking to a new agent that wanted to, she had a degree in history, and she was into real estate a couple years and really trying to struggle to find herself. She loved historical architecture. And I said, why don't you focus on historical Denver homes? You know, I literally was showing some homes at the time. We lose our power. I was showing some homes at the time to a couple that were buying. I'm gonna Baron von Rothschild. There's a historic area in Denver called the Rothschild District, which there's the Rothschild Mansion, and then there's about 50 homes off that are mini mansions. If you study that market and if you learn the historical homes in Denver, you know, and this is exactly what I told the lady. I said, if I were you, that would be my niche, because you love the history, you love the architecture. There's a couple hundred homes that are in that category in Denver. Go knock on the doors, interview the people that live in the house, become the specialist. First of all, you're always going to get their business, but you're also going to be able to write about it and talk about it to other people to share your expertise with everyone else. So if you can become the expert in that market, I guarantee you will kill it. 200 homes, you might sell 5 or 6 of those a year, but you're going to get business from people that want to live in these types of homes. And if you do, again, 15 to 20 of those a year, you're living very well if you're selling $1 million homes like that. And it's very easy to do. And that's where you see a lot of these top luxury agents. They specialize in that because they know the market, they live in that market, and they talk about that market all day long. It's not an easy market to get into, but if you're already in that environment, it's a very easy market to be the expert in. So,
just when I
Sure.
coached with Bruce, we were looking, and this is about six years ago, we were looking for my expertise.
Uh-huh.
I end up on investment, but I have a list here, ghost houses.
Good.
If you're into the ghost and everything, you could buy houses with ghosts.
yeah,
And be on that people that like that earth chips, tiny houses. You see the tiny houses are doing right now.
yeah,
Container homes
Yeah.
and grow houses. So if you are in that niche, you could have a very lucrative real estate business just dealing with that type of house.
yeah. And, you know, one thing, and this was something that came up talking to Bruce when they were talking, I think there was somebody in our class that was kind of along the same lines. This is a couple of years ago. And he suggested they write a book about historic Denver homes. So it was funny that I was talking to this lady, and then this other lady in one of our classes came up. He said, write a book about historic Denver homes and go interview the homeowners. I mean, and then present each of the homeowners with a book that has their home in it. Well, guess who's always going to be in that book, who's always going to be the expert? And guess what? They're going to share that book. They're going to order 50 copies, and they're going to send it to all their friends and family. So, and you know, I'm thinking that's kind of a daunting thing to write a book, but he literally wrote that book in 3 weeks. I mean, 3 weeks from start to finish, that book was published and out. And that first one, 3 weeks he did that in. Because I asked him, I said, this thing has so many errors and bad. He goes, I had a deadline of 3 weeks, and I had to do it from start to finish.
This is Bruce Gardner's book?
Yeah, the 7 styles.
Seven
The first
styles.
one.
Okay.
There are so.
A lot of typos.
I said I don't. I told him, I said, I only give you a $4 sign instead of 5 because there's so many typos and it distracts me. But it's good stuff. So, and he's since renewed it and it's gotten rid of all that stuff and added a few new agents in it, which is good. So, the beauty, if you don't know about this book, the front half, is about your 7 styles. The back half is he interviews agents around the country that talk about their 7 styles. The one thing in my book, it's floating around somewhere in this K company world. I don't know who's got it, but every single one of those agents in the back is a specialist at something. And every one of them talks about digging into a niche. And every one of them does serious volume of business in there. So if you want to become good at this and make yourself protected from the highs and the lows in the market, you establish yourself as the expert, and people will always seek you out.
Now, you made it to transition. I used to be a short sale expert on the buy side back in the day.
Yeah.
It's been 2 years since my last short sale. So if I had branded I'm still recognized and respected in that arena, but there's just no business for short sales. So
Yeah.
realizing, you may need to grow and evolve your business over time. Because if I went out and boasted I'm the short sale expert 8 years ago, you had business. A lot of people didn't want to touch it.
Yeah.
They'd be like, oh, the big joke was I'll be closed before you even get your acceptance from
Right.
and Lorena, it sounds like you did the short sales.
I did, in fact, we were talking about specialties. I had a short sale foreclosure specialty, and I did a lot of short sale. In fact, one of the list, a property that I posted months ago, it was a short sale, and the listing agency didn't know how to do it. And I was talking now to the bank. Now I'm telling him what to do, and it took about 2 months to close. But really, there's no choice of doing that. But like John
Yeah.
says, then you come back again because market changes.
Yeah. Be
Now
ahead
I'm
of
not
it.
doing as many choices as like this. So I'm moving now to first time home buy. So you have to evolve in the business as the market asks.
And you can focus on first-time home buyers buying $1 million homes. I mean, there are first-time home buyers buying $1 million homes. So if you specialize in that niche market, then you don't have to do 50 a year, or if you do 50 a year, good for you. My gosh, 50 million a year, that'd be a nice GCI here for our. So there's literally there's more. I actually have a flyer here, and I think I can pull it up, but I'll pull it up in a little bit. But basically, I'm putting together 1,001 ways to make money in this, 1,001 markets to market to in this business. I've got about 400, I think, right now. So kind of along the lines of what Lorena said and what you see here. Every time I hear somebody, every time I talk to an agent and I ask them how they get their business, I make notes on that. And I've probably interviewed 300 to 400 agents over the last 4 years. And it's wonderful because it helps all of you guys because I can share that with you. I mean, a lot of times I'm looking at it going, really, that's what you do? I couldn't do it, but good for you, And a lot of times I'm thinking, God, why the hell I didn't think of that? So there's a million ways to do this business. There's 1 or 2 ways to do it wrong, but there's a lot of different ways to do it right. And don't think that you have to fit into a certain model. I mean, it's whatever works best for you guys. It really is. And any one of these styles could be the style that fits you. So geographic areas and neighborhoods, small commercial, lofts. Urban real estate, I mean, my gosh, there's a lot of horse properties out there. I don't want to touch one again. There's a lot more to it than just selling a horse property. I mean, the wells, the water, the soils, all the stuff you have to have for just to have a horse on the property is something I don't want to deal with again. So,
You mentioned that mountain properties, I don't touch mountain properties,
Yeah.
so you have to know the service and the lot and the water wells. So I always refer those to somebody else. I know.
Yeah, they are. I'm going to be listing a mountain property here in a few weeks just because it was my old neighbor. I used to live in the mountains. So I don't have a problem taking that on, but the rest of them I would refer. It's like I know the wells enough to deal with this one, and I know the land and the lot and stuff, but more often than not, I wouldn't take it on. But very good friends. So waterfront properties. Now, this is kind of a fun one because there's a waterfront property expert here in Colorado, and he sells about 30 million a year. So I know that none of you guys even know where any lakes exist. This guy sells 30 million a year in waterfront properties here in Denver. And it's just amazing when you specialize what you can do with a specialty. Maybe it's, and again, this is like he has down here, single women. Broaden, I was working with pilots for 1 year. I had 6 straight pilots in a row. Whatever professions out there, they all have some kind of specialty in their. Like pilots, for example, get paid a flat rate for being a pilot, and then they get paid fly time. Well, most lenders won't lend, and you might know this, they won't lend on the fly time because that's sporadic. It's like a commission thing. They only lend on the base. Well, unless you have a lender that understands that this is a big chunk of their money to get them qualified for what they can really afford, you can't get them into much of a house. Most of them make 6 figures in the high pilot range, but most lenders look at that going, well, he makes about $45,000 a year. I can't qualify him for that $500,000 house. But so you need to, if you dig into the specialty markets, then you want to find a specialty lender that also understands. I mean, if you're an investor, you want to have lenders that understand what investments look like. If you're working with doctors, you want to know there's doctor programs 100%. They don't have to pay anything to get into a house. I mean, there's a few programs out there like that. So there's a lot of different programs once you discover your specialty that you can dig deep into a lot of these markets. Single women, that's a great one. I mean, Lorena's investment club for women, I mean, she's so damn busy. I know she's busy. She's busy and she's traveling the world doing what she loves to do. So if you dig into something that you have a passion for, my gosh, and she's creating her own wealth through the investment that she's teaching other people to do it with. So there's a lot of ways to do this business, and wherever your heart's at, you need to run with that, because that's really where you're going to find your specialty. That's how I got into the golf course communities. I was thinking, okay, my house, it's a little bigger than I need, especially when the kids are gone. I want to live on a golf course. I want no maintenance. So I started researching those. I researched, and I know the Denver metro areas so well, every single low maintenance golf community. I know it inside and out, and most of them are $500,000 to $1.5 million. So it's a great price point. And anytime people ask me what it is I do, I say, well, I specialize in low maintenance golf homes. And the conversation is like, what do you do? And well, I'm in real estate. This is my specialty. They always say, oh my gosh, I didn't think about that. I thought you just bought and sold homes. I say, no, you got to specialize or you're dead. You can't dominate if you don't specialize. So, so the lifestyle is the next style. And again, I'll read this real quick.
What do you consider? I mean, if you have golf course specialties that you're not selling all the time, would you have 2, 3, or whatever specialties? I mean,
you definitely can. The thing about specializing is you get so narrow that you go deep into it, and then you attract a whole group of people, and everyone out there knows who you are. So to be able to specialize in a few different ones, that might be kind of tough. My specialization in the golf market is very deep, very narrow. I write about it. It's all I do. It's all I blog about, all I talk about. However, my friends and family still know I'm in real estate. They still refer me to other deals.
May not be a specialist. A networker may be more of a generalist.
Right.
And cover, and if you take a look at a map of where I've sold, you'll go, this guy has no geographic area.
Yeah, mine's all over the place
the
too. Yeah, Colorado Springs to Loveland to Blackhawk.
That's because of the networking that I've done.
Right.
Now yours is maybe all over the area too, because there's golf courses all over the area.
But mine's all over the area because of friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily all over the area because of the golf course stuff. I mean, if I added the referral pieces in, then you'd see Durango and Steamboat and Vail, but I don't count those. I mean, if it was just literally the ones I sold, it's not golf course properties. That's starting to really build now because I honestly haven't pushed it out there very much lately, but the beauty of specialization again, and again, everything I do has to do with that. I've got envelopes that are golf course envelopes. I mean, literally it's an envelope that says this is all I sell. So if I mail a marketing piece out, it's going to a golf course home, and it's, well, my gosh, this guy specializes in golf course homes. He doesn't sell condos downtown. He doesn't do this or that. So if you figure out your niche and you want to dig into it, don't be afraid of it, because you're literally you're gonna get all the other business you were getting, but you're gonna add all this business that you're gonna dig deep into, and you're gonna attract the kind of clients you really want to work with. I mean, it is by far the best business I've ever had. I mean, it's absolutely wonderful.
You cross-sell, and just to help you with even though I specialize in investment properties, for some investors, they need to sell their personal home.
Yeah.
That's not an investment property. And
Right.
then they refer me to the daughter, okay, he's a first home buyer. And then they refer me to somebody else that's getting divorced, okay, this is a divorce property.
Yeah.
So just getting my name there that I deal with properties, but this is my specialty, where I help you with anything else. Yeah.
Right. And the specialty gets you in front of more people that you wouldn't get in front of. I mean, if I'm a generalist, and if you think this in terms of any profession that's out there, who makes the most money? The specialists. I mean, if you think medical, the neurosurgeons, the anesthesiologists, those guys are making the big bucks. I mean, they're making the $1 million a year. The other ones are making the $200,000 or $300,000. Great income, but still not what they're making. If you look at the musicians, I mean, and any athlete, if you're at that level, then you are doing what you're meant to be doing. And the beauty is you're going to be attracting the people to you. I mean, you look at the bands, I don't know, name a popular band. Who do you listen to? It's probably totally different in a group I've never heard of. Okay, so I'm going to say the Rolling Stones, okay? my era. But, you know, they're unique. They're not my favorite band. I just picked them because everyone knows who they are. But they wrote their music the way they like to play and listen to music. And they have this massive following, and they now have like 3 generations that follow these guys. They didn't say, okay, we're going to do what this group did. They said, we're going to do what we want to do. And if you do that in real estate, if you say, you know what, screw it, I'm doing it my way, I'm going to attract the kind of clients I want to work with, and that's what this whole thing is about, then you write the rules. You literally write the rules on how you want to be successful in this business. And a lot of times it's what you do for fun that digs into your niche, digs deep into a specialization, or maybe it's a type of property you really want to be a part of. You really want to understand penthouse suites. Maybe you want to do nothing but penthouses in Denver. By all means, there's probably 5,000 of them. You could probably easily be the top agent in that market with just 6 to 8 weeks of hard research and work and putting yourself out there as that person. You're going to attract people to you if you dig into it. But if you generalize and, okay, it's penthouses, it's golf course, it's lakefront, it's horse properties, you're never going to be able to specialize. You're never going to be able to learn it all. So learn as much as you can about one little niche market so that you can be a specialist. And then if somebody asks you about another one, you'll know how you dug deep into this one. You can dig deep into another one really quick.
You may end up getting where you may have a client that wants to use you, and they're insistent on using you, even though they know you're not an expert. I sold a property up in Red Feather Lakes. I know very little or nothing about Red Feather Lakes. I learned a ton selling the property up there, but they specifically wanted to work with me. But here's the thing, it was a cross-pollinating situation. It was a short sale in Red Feather Lakes. And there were not a lot of short sale specialists in Red Feather Lakes. It just wasn't, nobody knew what to do with it. And so they brought me in not because of my knowledge of Red Feather Lakes, but because of my knowledge of how to deal with short sale and deal with multiple lien holders in a complicated situation.
So the niche, being a short sale guy, got you that deal.
That
so
and
being
the
a
relationship
specialist.
with the client.
Right.
That client knew that I dealt with short sales.
Yeah.
But
if you didn't deal with short sales, do you think they probably would have said, well, we'll find somebody
they
local?
probably still would have dealt with me. Honestly, I think the client wanted to work with me specifically because of trust.
And
there's
that's
a lot of trust there.
That's part of what you build up. So, so this, I'm sorry, the lifestyle that I didn't read what the lifestyle was about. It's more of a mindset, who you are. And again, golf fits into it. It just happens to be on there. And that's why I pick it, because it's in everyone. But, Zoomers, retiring baby boomers, resort towns, active adults, young urbanites, Harley Davidson riders. In fact, there's a story about the Harley Davidson girl downtown here. This little girl, she's the condo queen. She rides a Harley, and every weekend she goes for rides with her Harley clan. I mean, they go out. She loves to be on the bike. She knows all the people, and they're a tribe. They hang together, and they know she's the condo girl downtown. So when you establish yourself within your group of people, by all means, you're shared within that, and they love you. And it's, I think about police, military, teachers, firefighters. They're a brotherhood that if you do good by one, they will share you with the rest. So and all of these groups are the same way. I mean, boaters, artists, golfers, LGBT, the Corvette owners. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is, but if you're very immersed in the groups, then you will be very, very well respected within there. And if they know you're in real estate, then they will share you with everybody. They will share you with everyone else. And you can literally go through a group that you can blow the doors off just by being part of that lifestyle.
And a side note there, if you're the Harley riding crowd, you're not going to pull up in a BMW and with a suit on. You're going to pull up, most likely you're pulling up in a Harley Davidson with a leather jacket. I did a lot of dog owners and mountain bike owners. I sold a lot of properties with my dog in the truck. And even I even had other people, dogs go with me, and we go look at the property. The most important thing for them to find was where they're going to walk their dogs. Where's the nearest dog park? What's the hiking trail? So you'll start finding, people think, why would you bring a dog to a showing? Believe it, my dog is very popular at showings. She's been requested even. She gets requested. They're like, you're bringing the dog, aren't you? And because kids love dogs, and you will start going outside of the normal because some other guy shows up in a suit and I'm showing up in a pickup truck with a dog, and they bring their dog, and the dog's waiting in the car. We go, you got to do it when it's cold out, and afterwards, let's go take the dogs for a walk because I want to know where these people want to know where they can walk their dogs, and makes all the difference in the world. And I do Google Earth with Google Earth search and find all the dog pads, all the anything open areas to go throw the ball for your dog. And I got a huge amount of business because I did that.
Yeah, if you learn how to connect with your people, and again, I love this quote. Years ago, and I think I probably told every one of you guys this quote, right? A good salesperson will dance to their customers' music. I mean, but what I like to add is what a great salesperson will write the music that attracts the people they want to dance with. And that's literally the difference between these guys and these guys. So if you're writing the music, you're the one that's saying, I'm the dog guy. I work with dog owners, bicyclists, Harley people, whatever it is. If you're saying this is the rules, this is the game I'm playing in, then you write those rules and you attract who you want to work with. And it's amazing how that little leap can just flip the whole world of real estate in your favor. I mean, it's amazing how it works. I've seen it just in the last 10 to 12 months with what I'm doing. It's like, my God, I mean, it is amazing. It really is amazing when you see it. It
It's a
is.
sense of familiarity, being one of them.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, the know, like, and trust thing that everyone has to build before they will spend, $1 million using you as their trusted resource. They got to know you. They got to like you. They got to trust you. If you fit in with their tribe, then you've already broken those three down. They just have to like you. I mean, they obviously know you because you're one of the members. They probably like you if you're one of them, or they probably trust you because you're one of them. Those three things are what you try to build in every piece of marketing you're sending off. Otherwise, you're just mailing out, I will sell your home for a nickel. Please call me. I need to sell 1 billion of these to make any money. That's the other guy that gets the phone call. You don't want to deal with those clients anyway because they're a pain in the ass to deal with. People that are scarcity mindset, that think they have to get everything as cheap as they can. That's an entire ballgame by itself, and there's specialists that do that. And I did that for the first year of my career, and I hated every second of it. I thought, okay, this isn't what I want to do. It's fun when you work with people you like to work with. It really is. So the next one is the hyper-localist. Most people know these guys as the geographic farmers. And I'm not going to read this, but farming an area, you're going to be the specialist. You're going to know that area better than anybody else knows that area. You're going to be the one marketing, doing the pumpkin carving, what do they call it in our neighborhood? We do the candle lights at Christmas. I forget what it's called.
The block garage sales. Or the
Yeah, the garage sales, 4th of July, the flags. You're hosting the dumpster. Yeah, you're doing it all. So you're the hyper localist. You know that neighborhood very well. Now I look at it as I do geographic farming, but I do it in golf communities. So I literally will put a different market report out every single week about a different golf course community that I specialize in. That I have about 7 courses and I know them very well, and I will do a different market report. So about every 2 months, I'm doing a market report and sending it off to the universe to say, here's what's going on in this community. So you can still be a geographic farming guy without it being this neighborhood across the street. It can be nothing but patio homes. And I would love for somebody to specialize in patio homes because they are not, there's maybe 30 to 80. They're not big neighborhoods. But if you find all of these patio home communities, you will kill it in real estate. You literally, because no one's doing it here. I know 2 guys in Cleveland that they sell about 100 of these a year, and all they do is specialize in patio homes. All of their marketing, everything is, here's the patio home community, here's what it's all about, here's the HOA, here's what it's got, here's all the amenities. Nobody does it because it's not a big enough community, but if you add 6 or 8 of these communities together, you got 400 or 500 homes, and you market to them, and that's your farm, even though they're not all right here, they're spread out. You get to know those farms very well. You can dominate the patio home community. I just talked to my buddy today who's going to sell his home and buy a patio home in Soterra for $700,000. It's a nice little number to deal with. So, so to farm a neighborhood, the geographic farming that you think of as this city block, that's a little bit different than the way I like to look at it. It's It's a type of home that might be some here, might be some here, might be some here. It can also be that city block or that neighborhood or the Highlands or whatever you want to do. But think of it as a more spread out farm, if you will, because I know that you can dominate if you find that little niche that other people are like, well, that's too small. I don't want to deal with it. You know, but if you're the one that does it, you'll be the lakefront property expert. Most people in Denver said, I'm not going to specialize in lakefront homes. Why would I do that? There isn't any. Oh, there's enough to do 40 million a year. So I know there's enough patio homes to do the same numbers if you want to. So the last style is the billboard. The billboard is kind of the mega agent. I'm not going to read a whole lot of this one, but basically they're the guys that spend, like I mentioned earlier, I joined a buddy who was in real estate. His marketing budget was $30,000 a month. He was the billboard. He mailed to every single homeowner in Parker. And every single homeowner in Parker every year would get a sprinkler blowout coupon from this guy. And he would coordinate about 500 different sprinkler companies to go and blow out all the sprinklers in Parker. And this guy's name was at the top of everyone's mind in real estate out there. And he would literally sell 350 homes a year in Parker. Mark Eibner. You know Mark? He owns Realty Oasis. He owns a lot of the Metro Broker platforms that they use. But he's a buddy. My best friend was his college roommate. I met him when he moved down here in 79, 80. And I've known him ever since. He got into real estate, and he was the HUD guy for Denver when he got here. He was selling about 40 homes a month.
And there's a classic evolution story. Go from the HUD guy to the Parker guy to the, you know.
Yeah, and now he's got, I mean, he still probably does 15 to 20 million a year, but he literally has all these different tools and different systems that he probably makes more off of that than he does off the real estate he does. So, but the billboard is the guy that spends massive amounts of money. So when you see the shopping carts and, you know, advertise here and get business, those are usually the billboard guys. Don't ever think that you're going to make money from putting your name on there as a brand new agent and people are going to call you while they're out shopping, you know. Oh, I need some corn, and oh yeah, I got to sell my house. I better call this person.
It's branding.
It's absolutely branding, and you only do that when you're already selling $1 million, you know, in commissions a year, and you just need to keep your name out there in front of them so that every time they see you, they think, oh yeah, that's Mark, that's Mark. This guy literally had a $30,000 a month budget. We had like 4 tables. 4 tables as long as these 2 tables each. That was just full of mailings. That he had a full-time marketing director every month for 2 weeks. All she'd do is put envelopes together, mail them off, and then open them up the next month and get all the information she had. So updating databases and stuff like that. Those are billboards. They literally, I mean, Mark is kind of a combination billboard and what was the top one? Hunter, because he spends probably $40,000 to $50,000 a year on his marketing. He gets lead after lead after lead coming through the doors. I mean, he probably has 500 to 1,000 leads a month that come in. So he's targeting them, he's hunting, he's calling, he's marketing, and every time one clicks, he just calls them. So that's what the billboard and the hunter are all about. They're 2 of the extremes. They're I would say the hunter model is the model that most agents get burned out on. It's probably the most popular model that you get trained on. And at least that's what I think. I don't know, you guys with experience, what do you think? I would say most people get trained to be a hunter, and yet they go, oh my God, if this is what I got to do every day, I might as well go back to doing what I was doing before.
I'd say it's one of the most common ways. What's that?
It's good for the rest of us.
Sorry, I said that's good for the rest of us. I wouldn't say.
I would say a lot of, when a person's coming new into a city, they don't, I see these guys, they'll come in, and they literally just moved to the city. Maybe their spouse got relocated here or something of that nature. And they're almost forced into the hunter role because they don't have a sphere in the city to build off of. So they're forced to start calling expired listings, getting mailing lists, you know, just finding, you know, whatever it may be. They're forced into that. They may evolve into something different. I never really liked the hunter world. I dabbled with it, tried, you know, calling some of the for sale by owners, and
yeah, it's a tough way to go.
I didn't stay. Any of these things you need to stay with long enough to produce results.
Right.
You hold enough open houses, eventually you're going to sell. You're going to get a client out of an open house. But if you expect to hold an open house and get 3 clients, you might, but that does occasionally happen. And sometimes that's why the person ends up sticking with that style, because they got immediate results.
Yeah.
I find that if you got immediate results with one particular style, you maybe tend to stick with it. So, hey, if you started calling expired listings, you got a listing right away or something, you're more likely going to stick with it because you're like, oh wow.
Yeah.
But if you called 100 expires and didn't get anything, you're probably not. Am I going to go 101? You know.
Yeah, I think most people say I called 2, didn't get anything next.
I agree with him. You know, when you're new and you have to get established, you got to hunt in the beginning.
Right. No, and
You don't
I
have
get that.
base to work off of.
But there's some savvy ways to hunt. And one of them, what I would suggest, and I saw this firsthand, I think Jamal actually did some of it, and he could probably attest to this, but if you're going to, because he's called expires, he's called FSBOs, he's done that stuff. He also door knocked. And my personal experience, I'm going to let Jamal, do you mind telling what you did the last couple of weeks? You did some door knocking. What was your results between expireds, door knocking, open houses?
So I did like an open house every weekend.
Can you step in here just so we can see?
There's somebody talking.
There's a voice out there.
So I did like an open house every weekend. I called like 30 people every day.
Wow.
Expireds, yeah. And I mean, it ended up getting me a couple each. You know, I probably did like, out of every 100 doors I knocked, like 3.
So the door knocking was actually the best of the 3 or 4, right?
Yeah.
Because that was what I was going to say. Now he's brand new, and this is getting him some leads. So he's getting people lined up. When I moved into the house I was in 92, 93, I know I've told a few of you guys this story. This guy came knocking on the door, dressed up pretty nice. He wasn't a salesperson. He just said, he goes, my name's Matt Berger. I'm the local realtor. I'm here to provide you with assistance with electricians, sprinklers, these guys, and here's a list of names. And if you ever have questions about real estate, please give me a call. He goes, this is the neighborhood that I market to, so I'm the guy that knows everything. Basically, that's what his little 30-second spiel was. Well, over the next 10 years, he sold 50%, 30 to 50% of every home in that neighborhood. That was the only time I ever saw the guy. So if you want to get some business quick, the expired, the FSBO thing, those guys are getting called by 100 other people. The door knocking, nobody's doing it. And I know there's a class, I think Mark sent it to me, but there's a class right now that teaches you how to go door knocking if you want to do that. Personally, I don't like door knocking unless I actually have a buyer, but if you do it the way Matt did it, that's one way to establish yourself. The beauty here is we actually have a couple buyers. You can go there and say, I've got a buyer looking for properties just like this one. They'll pay cash, they'll close in 5 days if you want, no inspection, no appraisal. We have them right here in-house, and you can literally go knock on doors if you feel like you need to have a buyer to do that. That's how I would do it. So if you want to go door knocking, you're going to get a lot more results than the expired. You're going to get practice talking to people, that's for sure, and getting hung up on. But in your face, most people won't slam a door in your face. They're going to answer the door. They might have a no soliciting sign, and if they have that, you might want to walk on by. But if you do your research first, Jamal got a list of, I don't know, maybe 3,000 homes. All these homeowners have been in their homes 30 years or longer. These guys are prime targets for, like me, my knees are killing me. I walk up steps every day thinking, why are we still in this house? He's going to run into several of these people that are going to say, you know what? Yeah, I am ready to downsize. I am ready to sell this house. I am ready to do something else. So the odds are much greater in his favor than the guy calling the expired and the FSBOs, because they're getting called by a lot of people. Every time they see the phone ring, they're like, oh my God.
So this is an interesting story. One of my clients, he's more of a loan client of mine. He saw a make me move on Zillow.
Yeah.
And he actually went and I guess knocked on the door and said, I'm interested in the house.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, are you a realtor? So I've already gotten 20 realtor calls, and they've been on the market. It was a make me move. They've been out for 2 days. He got 20 calls. He's like, no, I legitimately, I have friends that are realtors, but I'm legitimately interested in your house. and he's like, oh, okay. And he got a tour of the house, and I said, that's great, but the point being is that just shows that make me move, which is the thing on Zillow, 20 people call.
Yeah.
So realize you are one of maybe 20 people calling on that. And some of them say, oh, we have buyers. You don't play that card unless you really have a buyer.
Yeah.
And because otherwise you're going to lose all credibility.
Yeah.
So you need to have a legitimate buyer. Now the buyer may or may not buy the property, but you say, I have a buyer looking in this neighborhood, and here's a lender letter, they're ready to go. Don't play that bluff. Oh, I have buyers, if you don't have a cash buyer, you could end up, they may say, I'm going to file a formal complaint because it appeared there was no evidence you had a cash buyer.
Yeah.
And I think I could see an ethics claim coming out of that.
Yeah.
So be legitimate. If you have a buyer, have a buyer.
Yeah.
And the buyer may or may not buy it. That's a different story.
That's true. See this, I think.
And I did call a lot of for sale by owners when I had a buyer in that neighborhood. You know, I had a buyer who says, I want to buy in the 80123 zip code. I would look for every for sale by owner in there. And I'd call. And truly, I had a buyer, wanted to buy in that area and wanted a home in that general category, size, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, I gotta say that, so Jamal asked me a couple weeks ago if I wanted to go door knocking with him. I just laughed, tried not to laugh in his face. So good job on getting some leads out of it. Proved me wrong, and not my style. Clearly, you're more hunting than I am, so.
Is my stuff all flashing on here? I'm sorry, I'm trying to find a.
You have the hangout. So you need to start the screen.
We're done with it.
Yeah, I wanted to share.
And don't let us as agents deter you from a style that you think is going to work for you. You're going to find Rob, myself, Lorena, John, Mark. We are all successful agents. We've all done fairly well in the business. But what you're going to find is there are things that we will, I don't want to do that. Don't let our opinion or let's not, we don't want to take the wind out of your sails. And so you may want to say, hey, I want to go talk to Mark because Mark calls a lot of people. I don't do that. But Mark does, and Mark is very successful at it. I do a lot of networking. Most of my clients know each other. The big joke is I'm usually with the client and I get an offering on the other client's house, and I sometimes have to preface, hey, by the way, I'm in the car with so-and-so, and I kind of like, so if you want a more private conversation, I need to call you back because I don't want to talk about their deal in front of this other, because they know each other, And so that's how close my situation is with most of my clients. It's a very close network. They all know each other. They're all friends. They hang out in the same social circle. And it may be mine. I have a number of, I would say, tribes that I'm in. You could be in a number of different tribes. I'm in a tribe. I love dogs. I'm a mountain biker. I'm in a Bible study group. I'm in a board game. I do a lot of board game stuff, and so those are different circles and that's part of your sphere. And so when I go into a house, sometimes some of my clients are looking for a poker room. That is a requirement.
Right.
They need a poker room, or they need a gaming room, or understanding what they want in a home helps when you understand their life. I want to be close to a.
Can I just clarify my door knocking thing? Because I want everybody to only because I to go along with the, you gotta try everything at least once, right? So it's not that I've never door knocked. I did door knocking for an open house that I was going to do, but it gave me flashbacks of 30-some years ago when I was at Xerox, and they said, "Here's your geographic territory. Here's a few number of customers. Go knock on doors." It just brought back horrible thoughts. So, but do try everything. Don't take.
Yeah,
just because I don't.
I don't either. I'm right there.
I am not doing door knocking.
If you're gonna dominate
I
a
will
neighborhood,
store.
door knocking is a great way to do it. If you're just gonna be an agent that has a different type of style or different niche, I wouldn't do it. I mean, I only did it because I had a neighbor saying they already lived in my neighborhood. They wanted a home that backed to the canal. And so I door knocked every home that backed to the canal saying, you know what, you probably know me, I'm on the board, and I know you don't like me on the board. But anyway, I got one of the neighbors here is also a client, and he wants to back to the open space here. So I knocked on about 25 homes that back to the open space, and we chatted for a while. What ended up happening is the neighbor across the street from me, who had the best view in the neighborhood, actually was going to sell, and I brought these guys up to this house and ended up buying the house that way. Then back to the open space, which you kind of get a little bit different. You know, you get there's a different world at back. I mean, there's people that go back along the canal. There's animals that are back there. This house sits up above, and the views were spectacular, and that's really what they wanted. But that's when I door knock, is if I actually have a buyer and I can't find a property. Another way to find those properties is look up the old expired listings that are more than 2 years old, because you're going to find the property they want there. No one's got it. No one's talking, because they're 2 years old and they're expired. So if you, and I've done this, I probably sell 1 or 2 homes every single year that are old expired listings, and I go door knock, or I reach out to those guys saying, I got a buyer. I know what your house looks like. I've seen the pictures online. I know you're not in the market to sell now, but I have a buyer for it. Would you be interested in selling? Whatever your terms are, we'll agree to it, and we can go forward. And I do sell those a couple times a year.
We need to be looking also on Craigslist and Zillow when we have buyers, because there are a fair amount of people who are upset we're doing it for sale by owner, and we're putting it on Zillow. They're doing it on their own, and we may be just serving our clients by not looking on Zillow. Now, I tell people Zillow is not always the most reliable source to look. So sometimes you end up with clients because Zillow may not be updated or whatever. But there's those occasional, like this client, I'm probably going to be working on maybe getting him approved for this Make Me Move home, which will be kind of a cool story, because it'll be my first Make Me Move home I've done. I've done some FSBOs where it was bluntly for sale, but the Make Me Move is kind of like, hey, I'm putting a really silly price out here, and if someone wants to pay it, I'll move.
Yeah.
That's kind of what that is indirectly, passively saying.
And the funny thing about those is a lot of people that put their home on there are putting a price that they would easily sell at that price. They don't know that the market is
Actually, this
crazy.
it's overpriced, but they want to sell in a year. So my client and I are looking to put a contract for a year from now.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir, just please.
Oh yeah, I've been playing with this for a little while. So did it switch?
Go ahead. You need to stop? Okay, now click.
There it is. Okay, so this is the 1,001 ways to get real estate business today. This is what I've been working on for like 5 or 6 years. And again, you can see that right out of the gate, I got the 7 styles here. So that's just one little section of this. I've got a whole lot of stuff in here. So I thought I would just kind of go down this list, and I can email this to all of you. It's not a completed thing. I add to it all the time, and it's a Word doc, so feel free. But I didn't want to print it off because I kind of got it. It would take up a lot of pages just to print this off, but I could email it to you. So some of these ideas in here are homes with main floor masters. I mean, my gosh, everybody my age now wants to have a main floor master. I don't care if it's a 2-story. I just don't want to go up and down the steps very often anymore. So those are huge. And you put a price point on there. What kind of price are you looking for? Homes with pools, homes with walkout basements, patio homes. I mean, there's a million different ways. TODs. Does anybody know what a TOD is?
Transit oriented.
Right. And is there one nearby us here?
What?
Transit oriented development.
This is built around trains.
Oh.
Which is everything that's happening in Denver right now. So Bellagio right across the street over here is what I wrote that.
And that's what I've been blogging about. You go to Mike's or realtor.com. I did one on Stapleton, one on the Thornton. They're coming up. I'm getting ready to do the Arvada and a couple others, because that is an area that I've been and I now subscribe to. Like RTD, they have an email thing that they send you all the updates on a regular basis, so you know what the progress is. You look for when a development's going to come in. Like the Thornton at 88th and in York Street is not. The plan isn't out there yet. As a developer hasn't come up, they're just saying we're going to have, multi-unit buildings with this many housing, this many retail, blah, 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 and then expand out. Stapleton's got a lot of theirs out there. It's being anchored by not Whole Foods, the other grocery store, and then the office park that's right there.
Yeah.
And then from there, I put in my blogs out, builds out to these other areas, to from the TOD out to the condos, out to the single-family homes, and then how it affects the main streets that are coming up at like 88th and Colorado Boulevard.
Right.
It's probably going to be redeveloped in the next 5 years. The homes on the way over to Washington, it's going to be developed and turned into possibly the next Highlands, with those old homes that are built in the 50s. They could become scrape-offs, or they become classic homes. The city of Thornton is, branding big on the original Thornton thing.
Hmm.
And those homes have gone up quite a bit in that area.
Yeah.
And that's where I live. So
So when you do your blog, do you put pictures?
Mhm.
You do pictures? Do you put a link in there to search homes?
I have not yet.
Do that one.
That's one.
So when you go, you can literally go in the MLS, do the search, grab that link, email it to yourself, grab that link and put it right in your blog and say search homes here. The problem is you're not going to exactly know who it is, but you're going to, it's every time they go, they're going to see your information. They're going to search at your site. They're going to look there. And if they like them, somehow you have to figure out how to get them. I haven't figured that piece out. If you do the IDX, the Playster site, you can do the same search in your Playster site, plug it in, and you will get that. So if you do it that way, I just haven't learned.
That is an area that I've picked as a.
Yeah.
I'm gonna-
Yeah, the TODs, I mean, they're huge. I mean, that's, to me, you could live here, Dry Creek and I-25, work downtown and never own a car.
Yeah.
I mean, I can go to Stapleton, I can go to DIA, I can go wherever I need to go.
I
And
was gonna do short bald guys with goatees, but it just seems like such a weird demographic.
you never know.
I don't know.
Put that in 95,002.
You might attract exactly what you're looking for.
What kind of houses they want, but I mean, you listed them all on there. Single women, that is a legitimate demographic.
Yeah. And the divorce, so here's how, when you dig into it, and this came up from one of our classes. So working with divorce situations. There was a lender that came in and taught a class working with divorce, and it was a CE credit class. Well, the beauty of what she does is she not only teaches you how to do this and give you credits for this, she actually teaches the attorneys because they have to have their annual update credits as well. So you can be the agent that sponsors the attorney class. You're the only realtor sitting there with 20 attorneys that all focus on divorce situations. If they like you, she said each one of them is good for 6 to 12 deals a year. Because every divorce has a sale and typically at least one buy, maybe two buy. So every divorce is potential for 3 transactions. If you get 6 deals, 6 people from just one, or 6
Leads.
if you get one deal from a transaction, that's 3 deals. 6 deals a year is 18 deals with one attorney that likes you. If you're hosting that class for the real estate or for the that they need for their CE credits, and you make friends with half of them, there's a good chance they're going to use you for some of that. And you can literally do 10 or 12, 20 deals right there just from that.
And you're going to need to become an expert in some of the finance situations that come as a byproduct of divorce, such as alimony and child support, how it affects the income. You're going to want to find a lender. I understand this from the lending side that knows how to deal with, because there may be some strategic divorce situations. And this is where you become this expert. Hey, we're getting a divorce. We're civil. We're going to get the husband a home first in his name, and then we're going to file for the actual divorce. We don't put a, and
Yeah, because there's a lien on the property as soon as you got that lawsuit there.
And
if you're divorced,
and now
you can't sell
once,
property
once
that's going
so
through
understanding, you need to start to learn a little bit about divorce law and about lending in divorce law. So it's not just, sometimes you think, oh, this is simple. When you're going in and talking to people, when you start talking about, hey, I did this divorce situation where we got the guy alone before any separation agreement or anything. We knew that the divorce was inevitable, but they were civil. We got him a house, and then she was going to collect alimony and child support. He could no longer afford the house once that got filed against him, but we got him in the house. And there was some attempts to work it out. I mean, there was truly some attempts, but being strategic about how that stuff gets sequenced and trying to get both parties into a house. And the wife agreed because she wanted to get the kids in a good school district. And so there was a civilness there, because if there's kids involved, as much as they hate each other, they know they have to work together because they're sharing those kids for the next decade or so.
I've been divorced. I share for longer.
Yeah, but you're
If you've been divorced, you're absolutely a divorced.
I tried to sell them on the free market, but hardly used kids.
You gotta get a little lower mileage. So you're so younger.
John, I gotta run. I got an appointment.
All right, thank you.
But I just ask you guys here. Some of you guys don't know yet. I'm Mike Smiley.
you missed the introduction
I
ceremony.
know, but
I was
And now you're leaving before we do
We
the
were
exit
having
ceremony.
coffee.
And I apologize for that. But I'll try to keep it on time. But I'm doing, I got a booth at the Thornton Harvest Fest coming up September 9th. It's a Saturday. Anybody have a cake company banner I could borrow?
There's a hat.
A hat.
Hat? I got an ordered shirt and I've got bling. I've got,
My shirts are big. You can use them as a banner.
I got one order. I know. I got one order. I've got beer koozies and pens and Bronco schedules all with my name and cake company on it. So if anybody wants to come by, it's in the old original Thornton.
So you said you already got the Bronco schedules? Because I got some in my office that Stacy's selling if anybody
I
wants.
bought some of
You
these.
okay, you bought the other ones, okay.
I bought.
Does anybody want any of
How
those?
many you got left?
There's 50. You bought half, there's half
I'll
left.
give you $20.
You gotta talk to Stacy there. $40 is what she wants, so I can't sell it for
She
anything.
charged me 50.
I was gonna say, what? No, they're basically 50 Bronco schedules,
Yeah.
and then you just peel, like that peel and
Yeah.
stick right there.
Yeah,
You just peel that off and put your card right on there and they're yours.
I put the.
Just like that.
I got to 50 of them. I think is what I'm gonna start with. I don't know how many I'll go through. I think I got.
Yeah.
I got pens and,
So when is that? Labor Day?
September 9th, it's Saturday, September 9th. I don't know if that's Labor Day or.
No, the third,
think so.
second and
I don't
third.
think so.
Do you want to put it as a Facebook event? That would be
I'm
Yeah.
gonna put it on and boost it and everything. I'll do that. I'll take care of that because I've got my Facebook business page is my LLC, Dovetail LLC is on my Facebook page too, so I'll boost it on there. And I usually put all my blogs on my Facebook page too. So any of you guys, if you could all either share your Facebook or invite me a friend or something, however you want to do that. You can-
And who are you?
Mike
Dovetail?
Smith, Dovetail LLC, 2 words, Dovetail is my Facebook. And my blog is MikeSmileyColoradoRealtor.com. That's my other way. And they're all new, so there's not a whole lot of stuff, but I do have my TOD blogs on there. And I'll be more into
Awesome.
Yeah, well, thank you, Mike.
But I have an appointment, guys, so
Thanks, Mike.
we'll catch you next.
See you on the golf course.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah, you bet.
give you a call later.
Call my.
So there, I mean, I'm open for ideas here. I was going to go through some of these if you're interested, just to see. But again, I can email this. I can give it to Lorena. She can distribute this one. It's not complete. It's not even in an organized fashion. It's just ideas as I get them, and I just try to keep them in one place. You can see here, there's a lot of different topics here. I mean, like this one, the homes with runways.
The planes and
There's up in
runways?
Erie, there's places that have runways.
There's one right over here, just south of
I'm
us,
gonna market them.
Douglas County. Yeah, in
I
fact,
don't have them in the spring.
what's cool is, well, I bet you'd be surprised.
Really?
I bet you'd be surprised. There's one in El Paso County or Elbert County right over here. And what's neat is they get together with each of the communities and they'll have like a barbecue. So all the little planes from one will fly into the other, and they'll all host it and they get back. These are they're not cheap.
Right.
But they're not like multi-million dollars. They all have like 5 or 6 acres. There's a runway going down the middle of them. They can take off and land. And it's just, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Fascinating.
Well,
Yeah.
Oliver Fresconas.
Right. His is up in Erie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he would invite people, you could land, if you wanted to fly into his party, you could.
Literally.
You could
Yeah.
fly your plane to his party. He was a foremost real estate attorney
Attorney, yeah.
in the metro area, unfortunately died in a plane crash.
Yeah, it wasn't a good
Oh.
time.
Oh, you couldn't have said that 2 years ago when it happened. But now it's pretty funny.
Yeah, that might have got you in trouble.
So where did you see that? Did you see it on
At the
there?
very bottom.
Oh, homes with runways.
I
Okay.
was thinking, like model runways. Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
Have a runway.
Well, those are.
That could be an issue.
There's a lot of those in Florida. So-
Blonde.
So this one here is interesting. So pro athlete living space. So I met with he's actually a friend of mine who was a big mortgage guy for years. When he would have a home built, he would design it so that he literally had the pro athlete in mind. What happened is John still here? Come here a minute, John. He could probably vouch for this. I'm not positive, but I don't want to speak. So John actually played for the Denver Broncos, and the way it works, the way I understand it, is as a rookie agent, you're pretty much paired with a senior player, right?
For the most part, for like first.
Oh, first couple of weeks, so you share living space and stuff like that with them, or?
During training camp you do, but like once you make the team,
Okay.
free to move as you please.
Okay, so I was a little bit misunderstanding about that, but I do know that a lot of the rookies will stay with another player for a year, up to a year at a time. And so this guy designed his house with that in mind, because he knew that he had a $4 million home. He knew that not everybody could afford it, but some of the pro athletes could, whether it was baseball, football, hockey, or whatever the other one is, basketball. So what he did was he designed his house where upper level was like living areas. He had a big master suite, and then on the lower level he had another big master suite, so that if the situation came where you had, say Peyton Manning has it, and he's got the rookie quarterback with him, then he's up here with his family, and then the other guy has his space here, but they're still in the same place. They got some common quarters. He literally designed his house that way. So I know it's a rare thing, but there's probably 300 pro athletes living in Denver right now. So there is a market, and I would guess 150 of them are transitioning every year. I mean, it's not like they all stay very long. Unfortunately, their life in their career life is, I think it's 3.5 years in the NFL, and then you get a pension if you've been 3.5 years, right? Which means that they're not expecting you to last 3.5 years. They're expecting you to last 3. We'll give it to you if you make 3.5. Yeah. So there's a lot of money there. There's a very tight little market, but if you specialize in that market, you can definitely speak to the audience you want to speak to by doing things like that. So I bring it up just because we have so many different unique properties that are out there. Don't rule any of them out. I mean, if you have a heart for something, then by all means do that. Dig into it and run with it. So.
You have mother-in-law quarters on there? Because I've been thinking about
So
doing mother-in-law quarters.
Next Gen
I know
Homes.
so many people that their parents are having to move in with them.
Do you know the Lennar Homes?
Yeah.
Lennar builds Next Gen Homes.
Next Gen.
Next Gen is a
Yeah,
Lennar
next
product,
generation.
and it's literally a mother-in-law suite or a kids moving back from college suite that's all self-contained.
Really?
And if you look up Lennar, see if they have some in the Springs. I've written about them a few times. They're amazing. I sold one in Douglas County. It's a nice big ranch. You walk in the front door, and to the right is another door that can be locked, and it's literally this studio. It's got it's more than a studio. It's got a full bedroom, a kitchen, full kitchen, living room, and then it also has its own door to the garage. So it has like its own garage stall. So literally they could come in and live there and never see each other.
These
Or
are
you could
also
open the
popular
door.
with investors.
Absolutely.
Some investors are buying them as their primary home, renting out the other portion
yeah.
of the property, or they're buying it and renting it to,
Yeah.
using it as somewhat of an
So that
unofficial
type of home you could really market to a couple different.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And they're not priced stupid. I mean, they're priced right there with the rest of them.
Right. I thought I've been thinking about it for about a month because I did a CMA for somebody that had one.
Okay.
So then I had to figure out the value because there wasn't any other
Right.
ones like in the area that he was in. And then I found like a whole bunch of them, but like in different areas. And I thought that would be a really good niche.
That's a great.
So I've just kind of been taking a look at it. But yeah.
Great specialty because you can learn about them and nobody else is really focusing on that. They'll sell them if they get them. I actually sold one. It was kind of one of the first ones I saw. This couple that my wife knew said, "Oh, we found a house we want to buy. We want you guys to help us buy it." It's a total custom home. It was a big 2-story, and it had a 4-car garage, but it was like a tandem on one side. If you pull all the way in there, that had its own entrance, and then you go up in this hallway and then back down, and there's a big 2-bedroom underneath of this house. There was a walkout. I mean, it was 6,500 square foot house. There was probably 1,800 of it was this other house underneath of the house, and they bought it for their mom to live with her because she was kind of getting up there and they needed to watch her a little tighter. I'd never seen anything like it, and it didn't look like anything other than a regular house in the front. A lot of big custom homes in the area, but it's like, wow, it was cool. You literally you could walk up the staircase together, and then it had its own entry. You guys had their entry. Then they could never see each other. They could be with each other all the time if they wanted.
Yeah.
But so that's definitely a very niche-y thing that a lot of builders are looking at right now.
Well, and I'm figuring because of our, the baby boomers, their
Right.
parents can't afford or don't want to go to. Everybody's moving their parents in with them. That's
Yeah.
just my people my age.
It's the sandwich generation. That's
what-
us.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
We're that
And that's
people in
what
the
I've
middle.
been
Kids are
noticing.
coming back. Mom and dad are moving in. We're
Right.
like, God, I wish I had 2 more houses.
A lot more money so I could buy everybody their own house.
Yeah.
I know a good agent to help you find out.
Get them an agent and get them a house in another city. Second homes, resort properties, getaways, hideaways. I mean, stuff like that. If you think about those, you can connect with agents that sell in those areas, and you can refer deals to them if you don't want to go up and sell the Red Feather Lakes or whatever it is. I actually know an agent. I knew an agent. It's been years ago. I think he's probably gone. My wife was in a leads group. He would sell luxury homes in Aspen and Steamboat and Vail. He lived in Denver. His clients were out of state. They would fly in. He'd get them on a plane. They'd fly up to Aspen. He'd rent a car. They'd spend the weekend up there. They'd buy a house. They'd fly back. That was his market. He didn't touch Denver, but he lived here. And he literally sold luxury homes in those markets. And it's like, wow, okay, I guess you can study him pretty well. You can know him pretty well. So, but he lived in Denver because he just picked the people up. Some people would fly directly to those other airports, but that was his whole market. So he probably retired, I guess. So, there's a million different things. Again, the multifamily, we were just talking about that. Oversized garages, car guy homes. There's garages with elevators in them. The elevators will go up and they'll hide their inventory of cars. They'll go down. You put your regular car on there. So if you find those kind of houses, then you're going to specialize in them. Nobody else is going to specialize in them. Any group that is a brotherhood or fraternities, we kind of talked about that one. Tech savvy seniors, I couldn't even tell you what that looks like, but I got it written down here. So I guess I know what that looks like. Historic homes, dentists, doctors. Again, these guys, so if you develop a niche, if you develop a specialty, and again, I'm going to look at mine because I know it very well, but within the golf community, first of all, I network with other golf community agents around the country. So if I see somebody specializes in Phoenix, and that's a natural fit for a Denver agent because a lot of people here have a second home down there, or they're just leaving to retire down there. So why not network with somebody in Phoenix? Because first of all, that's more likely to happen in Florida from our area. But if you network with those guys, then they obviously know that's what you do up here too. So if they get a golf course guy, now the odds are pretty big that it won't happen, but if you network with enough of them, it does happen. The other thing is if you're the golf course guy, I go to the courses that are semi-private or that sell memberships, and I meet with the membership directors. The membership directors are usually one of the first people that talk to people that are relocating to Colorado. We're coming out here, we're looking at different golf courses to join. They're going to say, well, do you have an agent? Because John Marshall specializes in golf communities, and here's his information. So they refer me to the people that I want. So they're like what I call my fishermen. They're people that are talking to the exact same people I want to talk to, but they're talking to them probably before I am, and vice versa. If they call me saying, we're moving out there, we'll live on a golf course, I will introduce them to the golf course membership directors at the different courses that they're interested in. And then they'll invite me to come play free golf, which is another perk. So I don't, there's a lot of different things you do when you develop your specialty. I'm looking at dentists and doctors, and I know they go to their fairs and stuff. Like Mike said, he's going to host a fair here up in Thornton. But if you were to, I had a lady a few years ago, she was with me, and then she went to Coldwell Banker. She goes, John, what do you think of me joining, or shoot, I think my battery's about to die. She said, I'm going to go host a booth at a wedding.
Yeah, but fair.
Yeah,
Wedding fair.
bridal
Right.
fair. And I said, well, I think you'd be much better off if you just went there and attended. Because if you're sitting there and you got your Coldwell Banker booth and everyone else is selling venues and food and cakes and all this other stuff, and you have nothing but brides, I doubt too many of them are going to walk up and say, oh yeah, we do need to buy a house when we're doing this. The odds are very, very slim. But if you're there networking with the venue people and the rest of those people, those guys are the ones that are going to be talking to all the brides that at some point, if they know you, they're going to refer you to those people instead of you're just sitting there trying to sell yourself. So you can definitely work the newlywed game. I mean, you can definitely play that market, and then you know who your people are that you connect to. So if you're a generalist, you have no idea who all your network connections are to be. But if you specialize and you see all the other people that are tied to that world, then they will put your name out for you as well. And it is amazing. I mean, there's a lady, I think, which way are we facing? She's about 3 doors south. And I don't know who told me this. You might have told me this. Everything But the House auctions. Did you tell me this, Rob?
Yeah.
Everything But the House auctions. Well, anyway,
Like state sales auction.
yeah, this is a lady that they sell real high-end estate sale stuff, okay? So people will call her up, you know, dad finally passed away, mom passed away years ago, we need to sell the estate. Here's our inventory, take it. Oh, by the way, do you know a realtor? She just referred me to a guy that sells a golf course. He's selling a golf course home in Castle Rock. And it was because of my connection with her that she remembered, John sells golf course homes. This guy's selling his property. I'm going to refer him to John. Well, the guy's called me like 3 times. He goes, you're my guy. And I haven't even met the guy yet, but I'm the guy. I'm going to sell the home for them. So when you establish yourself as this and you meet other people that are talking to the end user that you want to talk to, these estate sale people, estate attorneys, divorce attorneys, these guys are all talking to the same people that are at some point going to be selling a house or going to be talking to people. And you usually get 1 or 2 referrals every year from these people. So they're very good networking partners to establish relationships with. I mean, they're huge. And every one of these, like dentists and doctors, if you find those organizations and you can get to go to one of their events, you know, I don't know what that looks like. I haven't gone to one, but I'm guessing, I know they have trade shows and stuff like that.
They have their own conference association.
Yeah, absolutely. You can just go there and figure out how to get in and meet some people and network with them. I mean, I would think hairstylist would be a natural one. And I'm looking at the ladies here because well, Rob probably had his hairstyle.
And it's gonna be my clients.
Exactly. So that's what I'm talking about.
And I got my bookkeeper from going there. And I leave my magazine there, a couple of copies every time I go in. Actually had somebody pick it up and look at it. So to your point of
Hairstylist is a great place. If you get to know the owner of the hairstyling studio, they are the best word of mouth. I mean, there's none better because they're sitting there with their 6 or 8 stylists and they spread the word about you. And all they do is get information out of you. And these people are going to tell them, oh yeah, we're thinking about selling our house soon. We haven't talked to anybody yet. Oh, you better talk to Rob because he's the guy. I mean, they are huge connectors for you. And they come from the weirdest places, but it's exactly how it works. You know, if you don't want to call expireds and physicals all day long, this is how you do business. I mean, literally it's networking and connecting and find people that are going to also be looking for the same people and drawing the information out for you. So we've talked about, I know I've sent a few of you guys to work directly with banks. I know John's getting some relationships going with some lenders. I think, I don't know who else was doing that in here. I don't know if anyone else has, but they, you know, it's not like it happens every time you go in, but there's a lot of the big banks that realtors just won't go talk to. And I've mentioned it before, the Wells Fargos, the Chases, the Bank of Americas, all have a big name, a bad name still from the mortgage default thing and the short sales years ago. So realtors stay away, but guess what? They're literally sitting there taking applications from all of their customers every day, putting them in a pile. They'll start filing them because if you're getting a loan and you're going to look at buying a house, the first thing you're going to do is probably go to the bank you're with and just say, well, let's see what we can do here before we talk to our friend that's actually in the business. Well, if you can build a relationship with that guy sitting there, then he's probably going to say, you know what, I got one. Why don't you call him, see if we can motivate the guy to use us, just keep the loan in house, and it's a wonderful thing.
Has
So
anyone done that? As simple as that? I've never done it. I walk into my local
Yes.
bank and say, hey, I'm a realtor. You got anybody that needs my help?
do it.
Yeah.
John?
Yeah.
I have done it with my teller, in my commission. Hi teller, how you doing? She becomes my friend. Here's my car, and then the manager is calling me back. So yes, you have that.
Yeah. It's a no-brainer.
So I've got-
Usually what happens
I've
is that
gotten
when you
some
go with the
referrals.
bank, you just talk to them and you tell them, you give them a whole bunch of your cards and they give you a whole bunch of their cards. You just talk to the Morgan office, the mortgage officer.
Yeah.
I don't even want to trade cards. I want to know.
Just build
anybody's
relationships.
gotten-
So
The thing is that the next time that happens is that because they already have your card, next time somebody goes there without a realtor, they're gonna say, I
Yeah.
got this guy, here, call him.
Yes, I have business.
There's a lot of people who will go to the lender first before they find the realtor. Because they want to know if they can afford the home.
Smart.
And A lot of times those people are orphans. So
Yeah.
I've gotten a few deals from lenders. Now, I will say this, I gave them the first deal, and then the deal came back in reciprocity later. I have yet to have had a lender just send me a deal straight across the board. But that being said, I don't think it's an impossible thing. It's just another connection, and you will. Sometimes it's building relationships. It's not.
So,
I
you
request.
can tell her knows your name,
Right.
name, knows your account number. Just, okay, they usually ask you, how are you doing? I found another house. They start saying the
Yeah.
commission.
Deposit those commissions.
Walk in with those commission checks, they're like, what the hell do you do?
What do you do?
That's like your 5th one this month, right, girl? How many of these are gonna bring me this month? This is awesome.
I got $400,000 of business this year from going to Alpha Graphics. Okay, so
Yeah.
It's-
there was a
Yeah.
woman who was like the production manager.
Well,
I was getting copies always made there, and I needed something laminated right when they opened.
Yeah.
And
And
I
they
had my
do send you
dog, and
this.
she said, she goes, oh, you're in real estate, I do that. I want to, she liked my dog, and she goes, I want a dog. Well, I said, why don't you get a dog? She goes, I live in a condo, I need to live in a place with a backyard. And I said, well, all you have to do, I said, I said, just do it. And I said, do you have a realtor? She said, no. And I said, well, I'll be glad to help you. She goes, okay, thanks, great. Just by being or shopping at the same place all the time.
I think it's the repeated continual. If you walk in, hi, I'm Carl, here's my card,
Yeah.
send me business.
Like that.
No.
You're one of the things once you guys get your license, you're gonna have every lender in the world calling you.
Yeah.
And you'll have every one of you
Except for
requesting a
Carl.
LinkedIn. What's that?
Except for Carly.
Yeah.
You're on the list,
that
Rob.
you see very often, like,
Yeah.
the hairstylist, my nail person, you see me again,
Yeah.
and it usually it's normal for them to ask you, so what do you do?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I just saw a house over here, while you're, buying a house over there, and they build a relationship, and they be my yoga teacher after 6 months. Hey, I'm looking for a house now. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I regularly meet clients at my favorite coffee shop. They now have 3 stores. I regularly meet clients there all the time. They know what I do.
So the owner knows.
The
you,
owner-
coffee shop.
I've been the owner's personal agent for a rather large purchase and the sale of their home. I've also been the manager's agent. And I even joked around with one of the assistant managers, said, you do realize that part of their criteria for working here is that you use me. I mean, jokingly, but yeah, but that was 5 years of that relationship being fostered.
Yeah.
It's
It
not,
takes time.
and you also have to learn not to be disappointed. One of the other managers at that restaurant used a relative to buy their home. I still would come up and I'd be excited for them. I'd still be like, hey, this is awesome. Congrats. Oh, glad to see you got a home. Realizing, hey, they have that relationship with a cousin. You may have a situation where you build this amazing rapport and relationship with a person. They're going to use somebody else. They're going to use their uncle, their cousin, or whatever. And maybe because there's some family pressure, familial pressure. Other times, I've picked up clients where I knew the relative was a realtor. So why did you use me, not your relative? I don't want my aunt or my cousin or my sister to know my business. So that will happen too. So don't assume just because somebody's related to an agent, they're not a client.
But also, because I just had to practice this recently, when you get that news, swallow it and act normal.
Congrats! That's awesome.
Well, yeah, that's exactly right. You gotta act like you're
It doesn't bother you?
that you're not being kicked in the stomach because I think the first-time home buyers.
Finish your
feeling,
coffee,
Bob,
get
I'm
in
the
your
one that told you to
car,
buy a
and
condo,
then
not a
grandmother
house.
is screaming at
And just because your mother's friend is a realtor, you bought a place through them. So you have to practice not showing.
Very
any
true, Rob.
emotion, because the last thing to do is either beat them up or act like, how dare you, because it's just not professional.
Yeah, and it's tough to do.
Lower
It's-
place. Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, the public does not understand how we get paid. They literally don't. And I can't tell you how many people I've had where, I mean, this one couple, this is my last year's experience, and I ended up doing a little bit of what Rob says we shouldn't do, but I thought I'm tired of getting chappy. So for 10 years, this neighbor, I've been showing houses, I'm helping them, we're looking at it, we're getting their home ready for 10 years. And about every 2 years, we go out and we say, okay, this is what we're looking for. We're going to do this. So last spring, a year ago spring, we're looking, and they said, we're serious this time. We're ready to do it, ready to pull the trigger. Our house is ready. In fact, we've even put our home already for sale on Nextdoor, and we've already got about 30 people interested. So we know we can blow the doors off. And I said, great. I said, that's good. This will be an easy sell. But they also wanted to, here's our neighborhood value. They wanted to be here because they have the best home in the neighborhood. So we're looking every weekend, we're shopping, we're getting their home ready for market. And they called me up and they said, hey, we can quit looking. We found one. I said, great. When should we write up? Oh, we already did. We already wrote it up. I said, really? I said, yeah. So, so let's get our home on the market. You'll still do it for a real low commission, right? I said, well, tell me more details. I said, you obviously signed an agreement with another agent. No, you're our agent. I said, but you wrote an offer, right? I said, yeah. I said, well, then I guarantee you signed an agreement. No, I don't think we did. I said, I'm pretty sure you did. I said, I know how this works. Well, they literally wrote an offer on a $750,000 home with an agent. They walked into an open house in an area that was 30 miles from where I was showing them, because that's not an area they want to look at. And they write the offer. They go to this open house. The guy says, well, you know what? The house across the street is exactly what you're looking for. This isn't what you want. So he wrote an offer for them on that house. And I said, you know, I'm pretty sure you signed an offer with these guys and you signed an agency agreement with them. I said, my suggestion is get that guy to do the deal I was going to give you on your house now and sell your house for you. I said, I know this neighborhood, he doesn't, but I'm out of the loop now. So anyway, I had to explain how the process worked. I said, you know, 10 years of loyalty, and this is why I said you need to have me with you if you're doing this type of thing, or if you ever, anyway, you know, they apologized up and down, but they said, well, we still want you. You're our guy. And then they started being a little negative to me. I said, I'm not your guy. This guy's the one getting the big check, not me. He's your guy. So go ahead, have him sell your house. Well, it sat on the market 3 months and he couldn't sell it, so he lost both deals. We came back around and we chatted again, and they just agreed that I wasn't their guy anymore. And it was like, God, it just sucked so hard that you worked that hard for somebody. Since 2004,
Wow.
I was showing them. 2017, this summer, they sold.
You can bend the rule for that.
I did.
You can.
But everyone in the neighborhood knew that this couple was all about themselves. And, in fact, they asked me one time, they said, we had our home on the market on Nextdoor, and people kept coming and say, oh, you're the Williams. And they said, what do they mean when they say you're the Williams? I said, I don't know, but I wanted to tell them, I said, what you just did to me, you're those Williams. You're the ones that are going to step on anybody to be who you are. So anyway, it does happen. I mean, I had another client where they were my neighbors. They were looking to buy some property. They wanted to buy land so they could build. He was a custom builder. I showed him property forever and ever. I mean, again, 2 or 3 years without showing. And I finally found what I think is perfect. And they said, oh, we already wrote an offer. We already got some land under contract. I said, what? I said, yeah, down in Castle Rock, we found exactly what we're looking for. I said, okay, $150,000 piece of land, 5% commission. So it was a nice commission on land. And I said, well, I can help you with land too. They said, well, we know, but we want an attorney to help. I said, I'll pay the attorney fees. I said, that's what I would do for you guys. I didn't know that's where you were looking. Anyway, they said, oh, we didn't know that. Well, okay, well, sorry, we're 3 weeks. I mean, they'd already had the offer for 3 or 4 weeks, and I couldn't do anything about it. I could show procuring costs because I sent them that property back then, and they went and looked at it without me. But I thought they're friends, whatever. So a couple of weeks go by, and they said, you know what, we decided not to go with that. I said, okay, good. You understand that I can help you buy land, and I can pay your attorney fees. So the commission comes out of the seller, not out of me, so you're not paying anything. They said, great, we understand it. Well, we go through the process again, and 6 months later, I find out they've already written an offer 2 months ago on another piece of land. And I went down there and I talked to the builder, and they said, sorry, there's nothing we can do about it. You have no proof you're involved. And I just went back. I said, okay, apparently you didn't get the message. I mean, I tried to be very nice about it, but I said, you know, no problem here. I guess I'm not explaining how this works properly, but I said, we've been working for 2 years together. I'm showing you houses every other weekend and properties and walking lots with you. And then you don't even tell me when you're under contract. And they said, well, so do you still want to list our house, or should we go use somebody else? You don't seem to be too happy. I said, no, don't kick me all the way out of this. So I ended up listing their house, but people do not get it. They do not get how we work. And I don't care how many times you tell them or what it is. So, you know, get the agency agreement signed if you can, but again, it's not going to hold much water. I mean, you're going to have to fight your ass off to get it. So.
realistically, if you read the agency agreement, basically, if the buyer or the seller wants out of it,
They'll get out.
you pretty much let them out. I mean, and
And if
sometimes.
they want out, you don't want to work with them anyway.
Right,
because it's not a
exactly.
good
Well, I had a
relationship.
I had a case where I listed a $750,000 house in Boulder, the basement flooded. The brother-in-law would refuse to talk to his sister. They were upset that they was listed with me. He basically threw a fit, so he wouldn't talk to him. And I actually could have said he crossed the sign because he ended up relisting the house. They basically terminated the agreement to list with the in-law because the in-law refused to talk to him after. And I said, that's pretty. I was pretty immature on the part of that other agent because here's the thing I'm going to say right now: you will have a family member, and be prepared for this. So sometimes you will have a family member or a close friend that maybe doesn't want to use you because they don't want you in their business. Don't be that person that's like, I'm not going to talk to you because you didn't list with me. You potentially could work it into a referral fee. Say, hey, I know that you're. I know that. Hey, do you feel comfortable working with me, sister or cousin or whatever? Oh, no, I don't feel comfortable because I don't want you in my personal business. Can I refer you to one of my colleagues? I know it's going to take very good care of you. Collect the referral fee. And the case where I listed his house, she actually told me, she's like, well, I listed with you because you're going to do a better job of my brother-in-law. But now to save the family, I got burned. If I do ever come across that guy, I was this close to filing a formal complaint of crossing the sign against him because that's pretty unethical. Well, I'm not going to talk to you unless you terminate and list the house with me.
So to Carl's point, you will get that family member or friend that won't use you, and they'll tell you that. So your question then is, will you refer me to people you know? I get that you don't want to use me because of the business aspect, but will you refer me to other people because this is what I'm doing for a living now, and I rely on my friends and family to refer me. So I get that I won't get your business, and that's okay, but you have 250 friends. I'd rather have all your referral business than your business.
I
So,
did get that.
yeah.
I had my neighbor across the street, they didn't live there anymore, they were renting it out. Wanted to do it for sale by owner because they own other properties. But the wife told one of her employees, you must use Rob as your realtor. So it was a concurrent time.
Yeah.
So to ease me, I got a 450 comments. I was happy because I was new. I was like, at least there was something. But then 2 nights before closing on their house, I got all these texts at like between 8 and 9:30.
What do I do?
And I finally was like, I said, sorry, but you're not paying me for this. So
Yeah.
why don't you go and talk to that person who you thought was going to be able to help you in the process? But at least I got something out of it.
Yeah.
And I helped them a little bit, but when it became overbearing, I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
And I had a client, actually a guy that worked at Guild Mortgages, where I'm actually also a dual licensed mortgage, and he was in a situation he was considering doing it for sale by owner. And I said, I'll tell you how to do it. Do you know what he ultimately ended up listing? Because I said, if you can get more out of this, I say go for it. And they weren't getting. He got some offers. He put it up on Zillow and Trulia and all that. He got some offers, but he wasn't getting what he wanted. He's like, we're not getting what we want, so we need to go ahead and list it. I told him I'm not gonna. It was a unique situation, and I told him, I said, I said I don't mind looking at, and being friendly in that scenario actually got me the listing. So sometimes if your friend says, hey, I'm going to list house to their owner, don't belittle it. Say, hey, man, that's a great idea. You'll save all this, even play there and say, but hey, if you don't get what you want, or if you feel like you're not getting what you want, let me know and I'll be glad to list it for you. And sometimes they'll sell it on their own and you say, congrats, that's great, and you're happy for them. Other times, you're going to get the listing. And so
this is all, for all the new people, I mean, these are good things to hear because when you do get to the closing table, and to John's point, people don't understand how we get paid. People are always saying, oh, you're in real estate. This is a great time. You're so lucky. And I'm like, there's no luck here whatsoever.
And now it's
Well, there's 31,000 brokers out there, 90% do one deal a year. But, so by the time you get to the closing table, you're so freaking happy because even once you get a client, and once you get them under contract, there's all sorts of issues there. Once you get to the closing table, you've earned every darn dollar. that you're getting, every single one of them. Because no deal is easy. No matter if you know the people, you suddenly have friends and you're like, oh, I didn't realize you were that way. You know, that you take care of your house or you learn a lot. So you really, and you have to help them. So every dollar you get, you earn. But don't let anybody minimize the fact that you're in real estate and it's so easy.
Yeah.
Well, I will say, every once in a while, you're going to get one of those deals. You're going to say, like, that was an easy deal. They don't happen that often. But sometimes you think it's going to be an easy deal, and it turns out to be a can of worms. I've said, and sometimes you're thinking, I got a true story. I actually thought this client was going to be a real pain in the work. I showed him one house under contract. Lonnie, another lender friend of John and I know mutually, did the loan. I honestly thought this was never going to work. I honestly was like, I was completely shocked. So don't ever discount what you think may be a hard deal. Turns out to be an easy deal. This happened to be, in the house had a lot of inspection issues. The guy was a maintenance man. He walked, I'm like, I get these. And he's like, oh no, I'm good with that. He goes, it's an old house. I expect I'm going to be fixing stuff. Okay. I thought that. Numerous times I thought this thing was going to, but the challenges were different. I had to deal with the father who didn't understand that we put an appraisal gap coverage for 10 grand on the deal. The father went ballistic, thought I'd lost my mind. The house later appraised for 2 grand above our contract price, so the father was very happy about it. Lonnie, the lender, went to bat and said, hey, Carl's a very good agent. This is something that when you're working with the right people. So there were different challenges. Every deal, like I said, this one was easy. I found in my house. It was a $280,000 house, which is almost impossible to find as a detached home. So that was the easy part. Then the hard part was dealing with the father who tried to control the deal and was a jerk. I hate to say the father was a jerk. But every deal has a challenge. If you think it's easy, you don't know where it's going to be hard. It'll be hard somewhere. But
So-
more stuff on your stuff.
What's that?
Do you have more stuff?
Yeah, I was just going to do a few more things here. So again, just going down my list, and I'm happy to email this. Like I said, I'll go to Lorena and she can send it on. So I have in this market, an extreme homes sellers market like we have right now, some of the homes that are neglected are the ones that are the tough ones to sell in a bad market. You know, the ones that back to busy streets, railroad tracks, power lines. Those guys may want to sell right now. So if you're door knocking or if you're reaching out to somebody, that would be a much higher clientele, and it's still going to sell. Everyone's buying whatever house they get their hands on right now. So especially under that $400,000 price point. So don't neglect those. And a good way to find those is going back to the old expireds and just doing it on a map search. Go back as far back as you can go back and just find any that might be expired along hard to sell routes, and then go knock on the door and do a little research to make sure it's still not that it never did sell. But you'd be surprised how many of those people think that their home's still hard to sell, even though it's, probably in this market, they could sell it pretty quickly. So that's a good target, especially if you want listings. The beauty about those, if they're high traffic and you do open houses, you're going to get a lot of traffic through that open house. You're going to get a lot more potential clients there. So they're a good one. Now this was something, and I did a little research on this one. International clients work with places that you'd love to travel, but also this is where the number one buyers are coming from right now. Buyers from China are number one buyers in the market, in the U.S. market. Next is buyers from Canada, then India, then UK, Mexico, Russia, and then Germany. Australia, they have a very high home value, so if you get a buyer from there, they may just sell their home and cash out and buy a home here and retire. So by blogging and networking and connecting with agents in those countries, you let them know what's going on here. No one else is doing that. No one's talking to agents in Russia or Mexico or, Lorena might be.
Do we have foreign language speaking agents in this office?
Yeah.
What language? Spanish.
Spanish. Spanish. Okay. Spanish. Okay.
No. We had somebody that spoke French and Laotian and 3 or 4 other languages too. You'd be surprised. So you can post stuff like that on Facebook saying, hey, I'm looking for somebody that speaks this. Let's go out and deal together or something like that. So you can definitely put it out there. But these, it was funny. When I got my license, I was going through my ethics class, and the instructor said, how many of you speak Russian? And there was 80-some people in the class, not one person raised their hand. He goes, take some Russian classes. That's the number one foreign entity moving to Colorado, the Denver metro area. And it was amazing how many pockets of Russian communities were popping up.
That one condo development.
Yeah,
It's a
there's
circular one.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's full of Russians.
Yeah. What's funny is I have a chef that I met a few years ago. His wife is Russian, and she wanted to get into real estate. I said she would kill it. She literally would kill it because she knows where all the little Russian delis are and all the shops and the hairstylists and birds of a feather. People hang out together. They want the commonalities. So that's what you're really looking for in this, is finding a common bond and something you connect with
And a
everyone
lot of
with.
people prefer to deal with somebody in their native language. And if you speak more than one language, that can be a huge benefit, especially in real estate. Because I do have a friend that speaks fluent Russian, fluent Spanish, and he has a tremendous amount of business in the Russian community because
It's huge.
it's huge. And he
Wait, slow down.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What's number 34?
Marijuana. Everyone should get a little high.
Yeah.
We're in Colorado now.
Special license, no, no.
Yeah, we have one lender here who did a deal with Mark. Frank Brock owns his own mortgage company, Tri-State Mortgage. He can get deals done in the marijuana industry. He literally, Mark had a friend. Mark's invested in a couple of great houses. I don't know that it turned out really well, but he knows people in the industry. And one of the guys says, I want to buy a house. I can't get qualified. So he talked to Frank. Frank bought a $750,000 beautiful loft over in Belmar and got him qualified, and then they'll convert it like a couple times into a traditional loan within a year. But he can get them just based off of what they have there.
bought the
So
loft as
So
a
for people
residence,
who
not as a
want
broker.
as a residence, yeah.
So I'm confused. For people who want to buy a house and turn it into a grow house?
No, that don't.
Is that what we're talking about?
No, we're talking about people in the marijuana industry that can't get qualified because it's all
Oh,
cash.
it's the cash.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going.
Yeah, so
what?
I don't know what I have
That was
written here.
legal.
I was probably really high when I read this.
One lender
So
gets-
Oh, okay, now I
typically
get
what's
you.
happening is these people are using more private party money that is not going through Fannie or Freddie guidelines, and it's a
Right.
portfolio type loan, and they're looking at extreme factors. Does everybody know what hard money is? Does anybody
No.
not know what hard money is? Okay, let me explain what hard money. I joke around, and these are guys who've said, I want to invest in real estate. I'm going to lend money of my own personal money. And let's just say I've got a couple $100,000 and I don't want to put it in the bank. I don't want to put it in the stock market. So I'm going to lend it a hard money loan. I may charge a higher premium on interest over and above what is typically done. And I look at different factors. I'm more attached to the value of the property and less attached to your credit. Or I'm looking, hey, you've got great credit, blah, 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 but you're self-employed and you make nothing on paper. So they'll look at external factors. These are called hard money loans. There's also what's called portfolio lending. Portfolio lending is where a bank is not following. Fannie and Freddie are the standards, which 90% of home mortgages are done with Fannie and Freddie. The portfolio lender is saying, I have different guidelines. I can overlook your business losing money. I'll factor in that you're riding your car off, and your I live out. I joke. My business is as a realtor. Everything you do is a tax deduction. Your car, I wrote off $15,000 on my car last year. But it's a company car. I treat it as a company car. I don't have a car payment. I wrote off my internet. I wrote off my cell phone. Everything I do is a tax deduction. So I therefore have very low living costs. And I don't have it. So they'll look at factors like that and they'll overlook, whereas a traditional Fannie Freddie guidelines, you're going to be stuck with, well, you showed $30,000 income on your Schedule C tax return. Therefore, that's all I can qualify you on. And I'm going to look at the 2-year average. I had a client that owned a restaurant. Their business lost money in the year, I think it was 2014. They lost money. 2013, they made money. I got the loan done with a portfolio lender because we believe the loss was a one-time rare occurrence. No other lender in the world would have touched that deal. But I knew who to talk to, how to get it done. I helped the client get it all together. So you can start getting into these niches, and you may end up getting to know some hard money lenders. You may get to know some portfolio lenders. That can be a great resource for creative programs. Knowing those is important.
Do we want to find out what the newbies have? If we got questions or issues? Or
Yeah, any at all. Just any questions on nothing. Just
When you talk about blogging, do you have a separate blog or you do that on your website, on your real estate website?
I have a separate blog. I do it through
Do you
Active.
have a regular?
I do it through Active Rain.
Oh, that's where you're always talking about Active Rain. That's
Yeah.
a blogging site? I thought that
It's
was
a realtor
networking
blogging
site.
site, which is for realtors to blog.
It's a platform for everyone in the real estate industry. There's lenders, there's mortgage, there's architects, there's attorneys, there's trainers, there's coaches, there's 300,000 people on there. And when you blog in there, your stuff gets pushed out. There's two ways to look at it, and one is a paid platform, which I think is about $30 a month, and the other was a free platform, which stays within the community. And I tell everyone, sign up and do the free one just to see what it looks like. And if you think you're going to blog regularly, then by all means pay for the upgrade because you can push it out to the public doing that. So,
Okay.
But
I
it-
just keep blogging. She always read, and I
Yeah.
post a blog, and then I put it on Facebook, and then I send that to my people. That way it's not specific to my blog.
E-blogger, okay. Because I used to blog, but it was on. E-blogger.
You have to think of something
You have
smart
to
to say.
Yeah.
no, actually,
One time I blog.
I'll show you how simple
about
this is.
flowers
I'm
or
gonna.
something, and then at the end,
This will be one final little thing, and I've got two profiles. One is my coaching profile, and the other one is my real estate profile. So I don't want to join. I've already joined. So you don't have to know what to talk about on here. You just have to have data. One of my favorite bloggers on here is this guy right here, Dick Greenberg. Dick is a guy out of Fort Collins. He's probably 10 years older than I am. He's been in real estate since the early 90s, him and his wife. And I love their little motto here, but
Oh my God, I love that.
isn't that great? If you let these two people into your home, you can kiss it goodbye. I mean, they're just wonderful people. But I met him about 6 years ago. He had just started blogging on Active Rain. Okay.
do you mind sharing the speaker?
Oh gosh, yeah. I'm sorry. Where are we at here?
Yeah,
Here we go. So I met Dick and I said, and I had been on this platform for 10 years. I'm 10 years into this one now, and I hadn't really done much with it other than met a lot of agents, which has helped me with some of my business, but I didn't really get blogging until I met him. He goes, I don't know anything about social media, the internet, any of that, other than I use it for my real estate, but I had to learn how to be a blogger because that's where we're going. People are looking for information. They're looking for updated information, constant information. And I knew through blogging that you would put yourself out there as the expert. I said, so have you got business? He was 6 months into this now. He'd already closed 6 deals. He said, I knew when I wrote my first blog and I had closed my first deal 6 weeks into my first blog that this was a platform that I could use, and he's figured out how to do it. He sells about 30 homes a year just from his blog, exclusively from his blogging. So if you go to his blog, Marion Dick, you can see what he does. This is his thing. This is a listing. So new homes for sale. He writes about 9 out of 10 of his posts are about market reports. This is a market update. This is just a local one. This is a local one. Market update, market update, market update, market update. So let's just pick this one. He literally will do the research, write this little blog post. This doesn't take much, but you take a picture of the neighborhood. He does his little market report. This is about all you have to write right here. The rest of the data comes from the MLS. You plug it in, you say, here's the price search, here's the average days on market, 58 homes. You're literally doing a market report by spitting data out from the MLS, and he gets business from it. Then the beauty is his link, which is right here. This will take me right to his website. If I click on homes on acreage and for sale in Loveland, he's already found that link, got it set up, and he puts it in here. So if somebody wants to see what they are, they're taken to his real estate site. He does one a day, one market report a day. He has about 90 communities, and he does Loveland, Fort Collins, Greeley, and there's at least 150 communities up there. There's, at least that many in the Springs. You can talk about 10 different communities just in Flying Horse. I mean, there's that many different communities. You could just say luxury homes in Flying Horse, luxury homes in here, homes in Cheyenne Mountain, homes, the Broadmoor, whatever. You pick the area, say, here's the price point. You do the little charts, and he even teaches classes on how to do these charts. That's the beauty of Active Rain is, you can see up here this university. There's 1,000 classes in here that are all free. You go in, you take him, you learn how to do what he does. And he's, it's amazing that this is what he does. This is where he gets his business. He goes, I don't know why I've been spending all that money marketing when this is all I got to do. Wow. And, you get points for blogging, and you can see that. Got my thing in the way.
Investing in your education and knowledge is vital. If you spend more time becoming educated, people want to work. A lot of people can go find homes on their own. They can go search the MLS. Often clients are coming in and saying, I want to go look at this house. I found it on my own. But what they're looking to you is to interpret, is this a good buy? Is this neighborhood trending up? Is it worth an extra $20,000 because this has a outbuilding on a horse property? And is this a good decision for me? That they're looking for you to counsel and advise them. And they often know the data. So you're going to want to, they're reading stuff. The consumers are often very well educated. I'm amazed how much I often refer to my clients, I say, you probably know more what your home is worth than I do until I go into it and until I analyze the neighborhood. You probably know what the house down the street sold for. And clients are taking that as a compliment. They're like, oh, that's good. And I said, now I'm going to pull into the data and interpret, find out more details about it. But often most people are watching their own neighborhoods. And Rob was talking about HomeBot last week. You can set up where people know that their data. And so you're going to need to study data constantly. And for those of you who have MLS access, I've got 2 homes that I need to comp out today. If you're interested, I can give you the addresses or give you the ways to look it up. And it's a homework project if anybody's interested in comping out. And it's just, obviously you're not going to have the benefit of seeing the home, but at least pull comps, get an idea. If anybody's interested in doing that, I'll give that I give it as a homework project. You can send me a CMA report, and I'll let you know what I think. Obviously, you don't have the benefit of seeing the home.
So here's my blog. I mean, this is actually mine. You can see, again, it's all golf stuff. John Marshall IV, specializing in golf properties. And I haven't written for quite a while, but Winning the Bidding War, that was one of my posts. This one was pretty highly read. Lessons Learned from a Hollywood Screenwriter. There was a lot of people. This one got a lot of traction. And the beauty is, if you see the way this works, I can push this out on Facebook, Google+, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and then 1,000 more places. Once you're on here, I type in once and boom, I push the button and it goes. It's all over LinkedIn. It's everywhere. So,
but you have to have a little thingy on all those places.
No, this automatically, it sets you up when you get in here to ask what you're, it'll set you up.
Link, you can define.
Oh, so it sets you up, but you need to
set
go
up your
to
profile.
Like LinkedIn and Pinterest and all those places and set yourself up.
No, you go into your profile right here, under my profile, and set up where
in Active Rain.
Active Rain, and Active Rain, you set it up and it pushes it out there for you. And so here's the beauty. If I'm looking for, and I did this, unfortunately I didn't get to this person in time, but one of our agents sold a house 2 months ago and she posted on Facebook. Just had the pleasure of helping this couple sell. They're moving to Missouri, so if anybody knows a Missouri realtor, please pick this couple up. They're wonderful. And I said, Don, go into Active Rain, find that connection, and do it. So here on Active Rain, and this is kind of the long way to get there, but you can search agents anywhere. If you know, so she told me where they were going. These are the types of people that actually are on here. So I went in here, I went to Missouri. I started researching the area that they wanted to go to. I narrowed it down to the 3 agents. I called all 3. I said, will you give me a 25% referral fee? So I have an agent here that just sold a house, a couple, and they were cash buyers moving to your area. Sold a $400,000 property. They're like $120,000 there. So they said, oh, God, yeah, absolutely we will. So I reached out to the couple. I said, I got an agent that will work with you. And they said, oh, thank you. We actually met somebody at this church we went to, and if that doesn't work out, we'll definitely use your person. So you can find agents anywhere in Canada, the U.S., and here to get referrals for. You can read about them. You can find out what they're all about by looking at their profile, seeing if they're even active anymore. And this is where I get my referrals from. I mean, I probably referred at least 15 deals off to agents around the country here, and I usually get 1 or 2 a year from just the referrals on here. There's also a place in here, let me see if I can find that again. And this one doesn't get used much, but let's see here, referral network, I think that's it. Here's leads right here. Now, again, here's one 6 days ago in Colorado. This buyer's looking to buy a $300,000 to $400,000 house, 6 months to a year. You just got to respond to this person and get that lead. I mean, there's literally leads sitting in here that people don't use. So it's a very valuable resource for the knowledge perspective. For
Could you explain, do you have to pay for those?
it just tells you, will you pay a 25% referral fee?
Yeah, so you don't have to pay
No.
that lead access. So you're gonna pay by paying the referral to the agent, but you're
Right.
not paying to get a lead and it may or may not produce.
Right.
Anytime you take a client out, you're taking on a degree of risk that they may or may not buy
Right.
or sell.
So anyway,
I didn't know it, and you mentioned kind of setting up your online profile as an agent. I didn't know if you had time dedicated to start setting up your LinkedIn profile and your Facebook page.
that would be one of our training sessions. We're going to do that. Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna do that.
Okay.
We
Because
definitely
it falls into your style. And
Yeah.
some styles, like I'm very big on Facebook, and I get leads from which you have to do on Facebook and on LinkedIn, and then I have e-blogger, and I have all my marketing there. That will, so yeah.
So you can see my profile on LinkedIn. Guess what? It's related to golf. That's Praderas Country Club, and golf has got me so many connections. I literally did a $1.2 million deal from this earlier this year. I'm just having golf on my profile.
But like anything that you, like for example on a profile, you have to post. You have to be always on top of mind. Some
Yeah.
some of your friends up in LinkedIn, they see another article from you.
And staying in front of your sphere of influence does not always mean talking about real estate. Put pictures of your dogs, your kids. You know, people like to see that. They want to see you're real.
Even when I preview houses, I put myself on my Facebook, and I have clients all around. I'm following you with your preview. Now can you show me that house?
Oh, so I mentioned a couple that does, this is them, Liz and Bill Spear. They dominate the patio home market. These guys are in Ohio. One of them is a full-time engineer, works during the day. They're licensed RE/MAX agents, but they do nothing but blog and post stuff all the time. They're very good ambassadors for Active Rain, but their stuff, if you go read their main stuff, they get a lot of deals from talking about patio homes on here. It's a very unique market, and nobody, like they said, nobody else does it because there's small pockets of them. They're not big neighborhoods. So it's funny that they popped up on the top. But on here, you connect with people. I mean, I probably talked to a couple hundred of these agents in here. I really like a post. I'll just call that agent and let them know because I'm building a connection with an agent somewhere else that might like what I talk about, may have a referral for me. I mean, there's 300,000 I'm on here. If you like what they're doing, I've got one lady that I'm going to refer her in any business in Portland. She's a buyer specialist in Portland. I will refer her all day long. She's just wonderful. We've probably talked 20 times. So you get to know people on here. You get to build relationships. You get business from that as well. So don't think just what's happening local here. Think people that you might know in other cities, other states, other countries. You know, it doesn't matter.
Well, you may even have friends in another city, and you may even ask them. You may go outside of Active Rain and say, "Hey, you know, Joe, do you have a great realtor in Chicago that, you know, oh yeah, he was awesome." You know, you may find business that way too, even outside of Active Rain. This isn't the only place. And I went and did some searches for realtors out in Chicago and found one for my parents, and it went very, very well. My parents were very pleased with the whole experience. And I don't know. I don't know. I didn't go to Active Rain. I just kind of did some searches for agents, and this one really impressed me. And I interviewed a couple agents over the phone, and I would interview, if you're doing a referral, you want to interview that agent, especially if you're referring somebody, because you want that referral to go well. And I've done some outbound referrals, and it's worked really, really well. Like I said, I interviewed the agent, figured out if they were a good match for my client. Also gave them insight to my clients. Like one of my
Did I
clients,
just shut that all down?
one of my clients couldn't hear in the right ear. So I said, when you're talking to the client,